Unconditional discharge, if you haven't heard that term before, it's center stage today because that is the judge's sentence for President-elect Donald Trump in his hush money conviction. This morning, Trump attended the New York hearing virtually from Mar-a-Lago. Joining us now is criminal defense attorney Bobby Bims to talk about the history that unfolded inside a Manhattan courtroom. First, Bobby, I'll start by asking you, what does an unconditional discharge mean?
Well, unconditional discharge is when the person is found, in this case, President-elect Trump was found guilty, 34 counts of tax fraud, I believe it was, in the state of New York. However, the judge has agreed there should be no punishment. What that means is he's discharged, there'll be no punishment, there's no, he won't be able to report in, he won't be required to do anything other than to suffer through the 34 convictions that he had. So those are really, there's going to be no other sanctions on him other than that. Now, having said that, there are civil things that do impair him, maybe possessing a firearm. I keep the president from possessing a firearm. But those are the kind of things that do. I would expect that he'd appeal this thing. He still has the right to appeal it.
And how does an unconditional discharge differ from other forms of sentencing, such as probation or suspended sentence?
Yeah, well, those things carry with them the other obligations to report in, maybe do community service, not engage in certain other conduct. In this case, President-elect Trump has no restrictions on him. The case is essentially closed and over unless he wants to appeal. In other words, it's as if he gets convicted, no punishment.
And Bobby, how common is it for high-profile individuals like President-elect Donald Trump to receive an unconditional discharge, and are there differences in how such cases are handled in the public eye?
Well, I don't know about what the public's going to think about it, but I've been doing this nearly 40 years. I've never heard of one. I've personally never had one. I think it's such an extremely uncommon outcome that, and it's probably justified, that I don't know of anyone in my practice that's ever done it. Now, high-profile people, I don't really know of any of them that's got one. So I don't have an example for that.
And does an unconditional discharge imply innocence, or is it more related to the type of conviction and circumstances of the case?
No, it doesn't imply innocent at all. In fact, just the opposite. He is convicted. He is a convicted felon under the law as it stands now, under the laws of the state of New York. It's just that there is no punishment. There's no sanctions other than the civil implications. So it's not a finding of innocence at all. And it's not a finding of not guilty. In fact, it has no effect whatsoever on the jury's verdict of guilty.
And are there any long-term consequences of receiving an unconditional discharge in terms of criminal record or future legal matters?
Yeah, you would have the criminal record. You would have the felony conviction on your record. You may not be able to possess a firearm. And it's my understanding that one of the things that's a sanction on this that may be some concerning is the liquor license in some of his country clubs. Now, I don't know that particular part of the law. I think if you're down in Florida, they may not honor it. I'm not sure. So those are some of the things that go with him. One of the reasons that I would expect that he would probably file an appeal. Now, we'll say, I have a client, if he gets convicted and he gets an unconditional discharge, I'm going to advise him not to appeal it because it may come back on him later on if the conviction's reversed. But President-elect Trump very likely will try to appeal this case.